Welcome to Tyranny. Tyranny is an RPG from Obsidian and Paradox with exquisite writing. I have played the game before, I have played through the game, and I have reviewed the game. But there's a new DLC coming out, and I have wanted to revisit this title since I first played it. So let's do an all-new playthrough. I could just play through the DLC content, but that would seem out of context. And I do like the game enough to just play through it again. As I have completed the game, I'm going to try out the New Game Plus mode, which lets me import my powerful and high-level character, but to offset the bump in power that we'll get from that, I'm going to go to highest difficulty, the Path of the Damned. That is about it. Yeah. Okay, this is a very heavily story-driven RPG, so there will be a lot of reading, a lot of listening, a lot of talking, and some combat, and when it comes it will be difficult because of the difficulty level. And again, I have played through the game but only one of the possible paths, and there are several, and also I have not played through the DLC, so it's not a blind playthrough in most places, but in some it will be. Well, let's go. And we can import a save file with the completed game to do the New Game Plus. I'll do that. Now, close your eyes if you don't want any spoilers, because some of this equipment that we can import is... let's take these two. This is tempting. Now, this can offer a little bit of a spoiler, so yeah, let's not dwell on that. I can import 2 bits. Let's go. In this world, evil has won. Kairos the Overlord has triumphed, and you're one of his minions.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and 2 of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spy master and Archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the 2 generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tunon brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
So, this is pretty unique for Tyranny, because you don't start as a lowly peasant. You start as someone already established in the world, and quite powerful. Now, as for history, these are my previous choices, and we could repeat them, or we could choose new ones. But I think I'll just go with the ones I have selected before, so that we can again go into the game quickly. Primary expertise. Oh, right, these do not repeat. Okay, I'm going to go with a pure mage build. So, yeah, let's say we're a frost and shock mage. And I went for a little bit of an older guy, just to reflect that. And I even have a backstory thought up. But we'll talk about it, well, shortly. Let's do shock or frost. Let's do frost spells. And secondary expertise, let's do shock spells. They will give us certain skills, but we'll get more into that later. So you can set up your guy, you can also set up your banner. I have chosen something like that, although it might be a little bit too similar to Kairos' own emblem. I think I am going with the helmet this time, because it's a little bit similar to my own. And let's spice up the colors a bit, shall we? How about a golden helmet on a black banner? How does that look? Yeah, let's do that. And adjust the character colors to reflect that. That could work nicely. What if we do with the alternative? That looks like something from Battle for Middle-earth, actually. Yeah, I think this works better. Let me just check again. Yeah, this works better. Let's set it up like this. Tau. Yeah, that works for me. Attributes. Now we can redistribute the points that we got in the playthrough. There are maximum values, I believe. But I don't think I want to play with them right now. Let's just go with the character that we have. And yeah, I have pretty high skills, but hopefully the highest possible difficulty of the game will offset that so that it is not too easy. And let's do the Conquest, because that is one of my favorite parts of the game, actually. Basically, you get to set up the world by some decisions.
Has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. 2 armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior.
They're right.
In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Conquest. During the Conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the Tiers, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the Tiers respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. The Bastard City. The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor, at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tiers, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' armies. Taking this city would send a message to the rest of the Tiers. Kairos' will is insurmountable. Select a token on the map, yeah. We can basically make decisions and we can start setting up how the world will be shaped. We can do Gate of Judgment. In the first major engagement of the war, Kairos' armies cross the mountains and establish a foothold, or infiltrate the Tiers. Both armies sent their forces to prepare the way. This option was chosen in your previous playthrough. Yes, it was. Let's choose this one. Gates of Judgment. The armies of Kairos took the battle to the Gates of Judgment. trumpeting the opening call of the conquest of the Tiers. The two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to the assault. They went to battle alongside the army. You went to battle alongside the army whose approach best suited your strengths. We can choose the Disfavored. Standing shield to shield with Kairos' ironclad elite, you advanced on the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the Bastard City. The Legion wanted to send a message to the Tiers that superior breeding and disciplined training would win the day. Or you rushed with the chaotic mass of the Scarlet Chorus, flanked the Bastard City's armies, and drove them to flee. Let's do that one. You caught the mercenary army unprepared for the mania and disorder of the Scarlet Chorus. Your forces overwhelmed the Tiers' defenses in a few short hours, hacking and burning their way into the continent. Any mercenaries who survived the battle found themselves initiated into the Scarlet Chorus, tortured by ruthless interrogators, or made the sport of competition. As the army marched ruthlessly forward. Now, it's probably worth mentioning that the Disfavored are a highly trained and disciplined honor-bound army, while the Scarlet Chorus is basically a horde. Okay, second choice. To judge the enemy, you decided the fate of the enemy soldiers captured in battle, or feeding the host, you found a way to feed Kairos' armies in enemy territory. I suppose both are important. To judge the enemy, the soldiers of the Tiers fell by the hundred, and Kairos' armies could not agree on how to handle what few survivors they dragged back to camp. Befitting your role, and for those of you who don't know, we are a Fate Binder, which is basically an extension of the Archon of Justice, or was it Archon of Law? One of those. And we basically act as a standalone court. Okay, befitting your role, the commanders turned to you to decide the fate of those who occupied prison pens. There were only enough prisoners to support the plan of a single army. Enslave, the Disfavored needed slaves to hold their gear, dig latrines, and keep their pallets warm at night. You consigned the survivors of battle to their subservient role among the graven ashes, noble troops. Or Scarlet Chorus. You gave prisoners the chance to serve in Kairos' army or die. The Scarlet Chorus was in need of extra troops to fill up the vanguard, and your former enemies would occupy these slots nicely. I suppose we will side with the Scarlet Chorus again. You armed cooperative ex-soldiers with scrap weapons and tossed them into the vanguard of the next Scarlet Chorus attack. Those who survived were welcome to take up arms and armor of the fallen, and eke out a desperate struggle to survive in Kairos' military. After their first victory, you rewarded the new recruits with the opportunity to execute their wounded or reluctant countrymen. Again, we are the bad guys here. Taking the Bastard City, the armies of Kairos amassed... that's 2 on. The armies of Kairos amassed around the Bastard City, the first bastion of the Tiers to fall. Both armies longed to storm the walled outpost, the Scarlet Chorus howling for plunder, and the Disfavored forming an unbreakable shield wall. Your prowess on the field of battle had carried them this far, but there was one more step before total victory. Both of the armies had inspired schemes to take the Bastard City. Which did you support? Alright, there are... Disfavored. You joined the Disfavored vanguard in a direct assault upon the city gates. No fortification would stand before the unstoppable Legion. And we get an ability from that, Warrior's Respite. Stand your ground in the face of defeat. During this time you will regenerate health rapidly, but your damage is significantly reduced. That is an activated ability. Scarlet Chorus. You joined the Scarlet Chorus in setting fire to the city and blocking the gates. The defenders would surrender or burn. Abilities. Searing Palm. Oh, that's a spell. Right? Gather heated energy into your hands and release it unto a foe. And finally, sabotage the city's defenses. You led a mixed band of disfavored and Scarlet Chorus scouts over the city walls to sabotage the defenses, and we get Concealing Shadows, once per encounter, Grace Deflection, Accuracy Reduction, Dodge Increase, Parry Increase. Okay, we basically become almost invisible for a while. Yeah, I could do that. This seems a bit more useful, but let's not get bogged down on abilities. I suppose sabotaging the defenses is probably our best pick, because it should be the most effective and cause the least casualties on both sides. And remember, we can use the survivors. Taking the Bastard City. Though it was challenging to earn the cooperation of both armies, their shared interest in taking down the city defenses allowed your scouts to work as a single unit. Once your forces scaled the walls, a mixture of tactics and savagery destabilized the city guard, who quickly lost their command over the defenses and were forced to surrender. Lacking the support of archers or siege weapons, the Bastard City fell quickly to Kyros's superior might. Okay. The Bastard City settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kyros's banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kyros's conquest, either as judge and overseer the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. Lethian's Crossing. Deposits of iron made the settlement of Lethian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kyros sent the forge-bound smith mages of exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Tunon the Adjudicator sent one of his Fatebinders to ensure the enforcement of Kyros's law, or Apex. The troops of the mountain realm of Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding their time as their neighbors in the Bastard tier fell. In the second year of war, a joint force of the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountains to take control of the tier's central valley. This option was chosen by me previously, so let's go with the other one. Let's see what happens here. Lethian's Crossing. Lethian's Crossing. Years ago, Lethian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and a mercenary company meant that caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. Lethian's Crossing drew Kyros's attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kyros's control, the northern smith mages could set up workshops to refine ore and arm the disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Archon of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support. With a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory, Tunon dispatched you to travel alongside Kyros's forces and bring order to the region. So management, basically. The iron must flow. You found a clever solution to improve production of iron weapons and armor, or the cult of Sirin, the Archon of Song's power, ensnared the mind of a disfavored soldier. Oh, this sounds interesting. The cult of Sirin. Sirin, Archon of Song, used her arcane charm to lure locals into joining Kyros's army. As a patroness of the Scarlet Chorus, her efforts were critical to the conscription of new recruits. When an enthralled disfavored soldier joined her cult, his company feared the Archon was growing out of control and needed to be stopped. The disfavored demanded that the Archon of Song cease her recruitment practices and that they be allowed to violently subdue her cult of followers. The loss of soldiers was a significant setback to the Scarlet Chorus's conscription efforts, or, in Scarlet Chorus tradition, you sent the latest batch of cultists to the front line of Apex campaign Those who survived were welcome to remain in Kyros's military, and their performance would stand as a testimony to Siren's effectiveness. Now, if I was not focusing on the infighting or anything like that, this is better for the whole army, so let's take that one. The Scarlet Corps agreed to transfer Siren's latest recruits to the front lines of the Apex campaign. Your resolution fit the traditional model of conscription, so they considered it a fair alternative. In the weeks to come, more of them returned to active duty than even Siren herself expected, likely owing to their obsessive devotion to the Archon and her enchanting music. Ancient threats. Drawn to the arcane energy around the forges, mystical predators from the nearby old walls begin to raid Lathian's crossing at all hours. Both of Kyros's armies reserved their strength for the front lines of the war, and yet the city required protection. You had to delegate the responsibility somewhere. Or a red anvil. One of Kyros's smith mages swore allegiance to the Scarlet Chorus. Jealously hoarding the secrets of iron forging, the disfavored demanded the smith's immediate return. The Scarlet Chorus insisted that they were within their rights to take allegiance from any source. Tempers flared, and the forgers cooled, as arguments stalled productivity. Basically, yeah. Oh, we can enslave the mage or wipe his mind, but I think this seems more interesting. So, we can choose the Scarlet Chorus or the Disfavored to deal with this. As the largest army, you task the Scarlet Chorus with the burden of the security, and the Disfavored took the opportunity to gather their strength. Or, since the Disfavored used most of iron that came out of Lathian's crossing, it fell to them to stand as the city's vigilant protectors. You know what? We have sided with the Chorus enough in the past. Let's side with the Disfavored now. At your command, the Scarlet Chorus flooded the streets of Lathian's crossing. Infighting and competition among the unruly gangs made for disorganized patrols and distracted lookouts. However, when an ominous tide of old wall predators assaulted the city in previously unseen numbers, it took the full force of the Scarlet Chorus to repel the attack. Who controlled the crossing? Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the Voices of Nerat injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. Tunon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kyros's more... to leave the city, not leave as go out, but leave it to someone. To leave the city in the hands of Kyros's more responsible servants. Only a token garrison could be left behind, while the armies returned to the front. As the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increasing tension and hostility towards each other, Tunon decreed it best that only one force controls the crossing. We can side with one of them. I think the more logical choice here is the Disfavored, because those are iron mines and they use iron for their weapons and armor, while the Scarlet Chorus, I think, fights with whatever it can find and also with bronze weapons. So let's go with the Disfavored on this. The Disfavored placed a modest garrison in the settlement of Lathian's crossing. Though the force was larger than might be needed to police the small settlement, protecting the forge-bound ironsmiths became the true agenda of the defense force. As these magical craftsmen kept the Disfavored invasion force suited in iron. Relieved at the departure of the Scarlet Chorus, the citizens of Lathian's crossing felt they got the least of two burdens. You received word from Graven Ash, thanking you for your decision. The forge-bound and their weaponry could not be entrusted to the Voices of Nerat. They are both quite colorful characters, but we'll get to know them better over the course of the game. Alright, we can do Azure or Vellum Citadel. As I chose this previously, I'm going to choose this one. Kyros dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Let's read the missive here. With the mercenaries expelled and Lathian's crossing under new leadership, Kyros's forces congratulated themselves on bringing order to the settlement and guaranteeing a productive flow of resources. Over the course of this diversion, the army front advanced further into the tiers. Your skills were needed in the realm of Azure, Stalwart, or the Vellum Citadel. Oh, we could do Stalwart as well. Forgot about that. Kairos dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure, or Stalwart. With its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the tiers. Maybe this is the more interesting choice here. Now let's go with Azure. I'm curious what's there. Year 3 of Kairos' Conquest. Azure. The nation of Azure, once the richest settlement of the tiers, sat on a verdant, fertile plain. As the disfavored clashed with the Azure's defenders, the Scarlet Chorus contended against the region's tribal beastmen, who protected their ancestral lands with incredible fury. Kairos dispatched the Archon Cairn to break the stalemate and force Azure into submission. The colossal man of stone and flesh arrived as instructed, but earning his cooperation was a tall order even for you. Stark by the Shadows, that basically deals with beastmen, or the destruction of Azure. After a roaming pack of beastmen slaughtered the disfavored pair and patrol, the Scarlet Chorus responded by laying claim to the beasts for their army, while the disfavored readied a company to enact vengeance. The disfavored legion considered the beasts beyond taming, and the butchers of their northern brethren needed to be brought to justice. I would gladly say side with the Scarlet Chorus on that. Or, yeah, this seems maybe more interesting. Cairn, the Archon of Stone, carved a deadly path through Azure, using his powers to blight the land. The Scarlet Chorus complained that his tactics left no farmland to feed the growing army. Since Cairn marched with the disfavored, the Scarlet Chorus held the legion responsible for the destruction and lost harvests. You ruled that the Archon of Stone may do as he wishes with the soil, being its natural master, and instructed the Scarlet Chorus to better control their numbers and plan better for the lean seasons. Basically, he can do what he wants and you must deal with the consequences, or you ordered Cairn's disciples, the disfavored Earthshakers, to use their magic to repair the arable land destroyed by the Archon of Stone. Yeah, let's do that one. It's stupid to destroy farmland you can use. Because we're not doing Scorched Earth. We shouldn't be doing Scorched Earth, since we are taking it over, not marching through here. At Khan's rate of destruction, the lands of Azure would soon be unable to sustain crops, but Kairos wanted the conquered land, not a barren wasteland. Exactly. The Scarlet Chorus voiced these concerns, and you backed them, going so far as to enlist disfavored mages for aid. Though loath to pause their studies and focus on agriculture, the mages grudgingly assented and travelled with the rearguard, working to heal the land as they went. Khan's madness, or forced into the fray. Yeah, let's do Khan's madness. The Archon of Stone refused to rejoin the war camp, loudly denying Kairos' claim over Azure. Oh, nothing less than a full unit of soldiers could subdue the treasonous Archon, yet neither army was willing to risk lives tracking him down. You delivered the order that sent Kairos' forces marching after Cairn. Consent the disfavored. When Cairn brought them victory, the disfavored hailed him as one of their number. With Cairn defied the will of the Overlord, should be when, right? Or defying. It fell to the disfavored to track him down and get answers, or Scarlet Chorus. The Scarlet Chorus had the advantage of numbers and speed. You ordered them to deploy their numerous scouts to scour the countryside. No, the disfavored will do this. It's their responsibility. Subduing a wayward Archon was a larger task than the rank-and-file soldiers could manage on their own. The disfavored scouts returned to camp after a long journey, bearing news of irregular rock formations and beastmen chanting Cairn's name. They found neither hide nor hair of the Archon of Stone, but his presence and impact on the Azure wilderness were evident. Unease spread through the army as Kairos' forces wondered what Cairn's actions could mean. So the disfavored screwed up, basically. The Edict of Stone. The Archon of Stone made brazen declarations that Kairos had no claim to rule the tiers. Soon after, word arrived that Kairos would dispatch this rebellious minion with an edict. The disfavored took solace in knowing the edict was coming, and the commanders petitioned you to be the bearer of justice. Tunon selected you for the honor of proclaiming Kairos' Edict of Stone, a magical spell with the power to destroy the Archon. As he sensed his approaching doom, Cairn began an assault on Plainsgate, the largest human settlement of the area. It fell to you to send Kairos' forces into a suicide mission to hold Cairn's destruction, while you completed the proclamation of the edict. We can send the disfavored, the chorus, or do something else. Send the disfavored to delay Cairn, or send the Scarlet Chorus to delay Cairn, or send both armies. Knowing there was little chance of survival, he ordered the disfavored to march against Archon of Stone, as he knew the city of Plainsgate. He hoped that the elite of Kairos' armies would delay Cairn long enough for you to read the Overlord's edict, or Scarlet Chorus. Believing that there was a slight chance that their superior numbers could hold off the Archon of Stone, you sent the Scarlet Chorus to delay Cairn's march on Plainsgate. You hoped you would have enough time to read the Kairos' edict before Cairn reached the city, or you believed that the only chance of slowing Cairn's assault was to commit the full force of Kairos' armies against him. It was a desperate gamble. If you were wrong, there would be no one left alive to warn the other Archons of your failure. Still, you ordered both disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus forces to march against the Archon of Stone, while you read the Overlord's edict. I think the Scarlet Chorus has the better chance here, and we wouldn't want to lose all those troops. The Scarlet Chorus went to battle wearing fierce grins. How often did they get to attack an Archon? Exactly, fury. Soon enough, their war songs twisted into shrieks of terror. Plainsgate still remained, but not after facing significant damage. You blocked it all out as you read the Edict of Stone. The earth under the battlefield groaned open, spitting up outcroppings of rock that obliterated the surrounding landscape for miles. From your vantage in the rear guard, the screams of the chorus continued without end. When the land heaved open to take Cairn, the Archon allowed it with serene acceptance. Why did I choose the chorus? Well, because, in terms of casualties, it would probably be roughly similar, maybe like 2 or 3 times more chorus dead. And in terms of recruiting and training, the disfavored take way more resources. So for the good of the whole force. The Edict of Stone. With the lands blighted and unrecognizable, the realm of Azure was left utterly ruined by the events of the war. In times to come, the tears would call the blasted region the Stone Sea. For the treacherous rock formations and persistent quakes became the defining features of this once verdant land. The Scarlet Chorus established a sprawling camp in the shattered rocky terrain and quickly absorbed those displaced by the upheaval of the land. These hapless refugees were put to work as slaves and soldiers, and the chorus slowly built themselves a makeshift fortress in the blighted, quake-ridden realm. Your tour of duty in the broken land of Azure was complete. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. Conquest complete. You have reached the end of Kairos' conquest. Do you want to continue or erase your progress? Yeah, let's continue. You can choose different paths, different regions to take care of.
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The 2 armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Alright, we are in game. Reputation, yeah. Reputation basically means what factions think about you. Okay. We are playing with an advanced character, but I will remind you that I set the difficulty to the highest one, so it should still be a challenge. We'll see. Anyway, apparently I got quite a few things from signing into the Paradox account. Interesting. Anyway, we should have... Yes, we have the stuff from the previous playthrough. Artifact. This is not an artifact, but it's very powerful nonetheless. And it looks really cool. And these give you minus 10% to all damage, and you can become a shadow. Right, let's equip the things we have. What is this? Accessory, fine. Alright, the fringes of the scroll are spotted with blood that has not faded and retains its sickening moisture. Wait a minute, is this a one-time use thing? It looks like it. Also, we get an accessory, Fatebinder's Steel, +2 Resolve. Sure! Let's use that. And Commander's Will Boots, Cleansing Victory. Which are not that great, theoretically. But they remove... Oh, cool. Hostile effect on kill. Let's use them. This is us, then. This is us. Yeah, I'm not going to be using lesser staffs. I have some potions. And Kairos' Edict. And a dagger that I'm probably not going to be using. Full target. Okay, we'll keep that. Maybe we'll use it with one of the companions. Right. And as our skill is pretty high, we can make quite a lot of powerful spells. But maybe I'll do that between episodes, not to waste time on, you know, deciding what I want. Maybe I'll make an extra episode. And if we have a look... Where are the skills? Yeah, we have all our magic skills, which makes us pretty powerful. Again, this is New Game Plus. Anyway, let's get going, shall we? Let's get going just for a little bit. Kairos, the Overlord, be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. The disfavored warrior claps her gauntlets to her breastplate, the traditional salute of the Legion. The commander would say why, wouldn't say why the governor of Lethian's Crossing would be coming. Oh right, that's what we did. But since we have no forges here, I imagine you're here to knock some sense into the voices of Nerat. She catches herself clearing her throat with a simple, mediate with the Archons, so that we might agree on a plan to wipe out these Oathbreakers. Disfavored gain a major favor. Oh right, that's because I gave this to them. I can glare silently. Lord 34, can you hear that hum in the air? The glow around the rocks. The avalanche is Kyros's magic. The Overlord has sealed the valley. Yes. Your senses see more than mine, good Fatebinder. Well, I wouldn't say good. I do not pretend to know much about such things. But if that was Kyros's magic, and you're here on important business, well, you don't have to be the Archon of Secrets to guess that you're here to proclaim an edict. What does Kairos have in store for the enemy? 10 years of festering plague? An edict of twisted bones? I'm in a hurry to deliver a message, glare silently, or... yeah, let's be nice to her. I come bearing an edict of Kairos. Our soldiers will complete their task or die. The edict is leveled against us. Her eyes widen with fear, her posture slackens. But the Scarlet Chorus prevents us from taking action. Why would the Overlord punish both of us? She clears her throat with a sigh. Forgive me, it's not my place to question. Indeed, it isn't. We should have conquered the enemy within weeks of arriving in the valley. The delay reflects poorly on all of us. If we allow Kairos' will to stop the insurrection, no harm... If we all follow Kairos' will and stop the insurrection, no harm will come to any of us. Or... maybe we should turn these off. Yeah, you know what? I'll probably turn these messages off. I want to be... Damn it. Damn it. First episode, and such a screw-up. I forgot to turn off Skype noises and Skype. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too distracting. I've fixed it now. Okay, I think I will want to turn off these messages and not know what's gonna happen here. Okay, let's use the subterfuge thing. Your first instinct is to blame the Scarlet Chorus. No wonder Kairos resorts to an edict to enforce order. Yes, well, there has indeed been little goodwill between our armies, and you are right. When we act as we do, what choice do we give the Overlord? She takes a deep breath, and nodding as she exhales. And you're right, I should not cast blame so freely, especially not when talking to a servant of justice. My apologies. Well, you've traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure the Archons will want to hear from you at... Her voice falls silent, her attention spanning eastwards with an alarm. Did you hear that? More runners. Third time this week. The Oathbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from outside the valley. She points over to the collapsed path by which you arrived. But they're a bit too late now. Come, let's show these Oathbreakers a good fight. Yeah, let's. Yeah, this will probably be pretty easy, since we are a high-level character. The real challenge will start later on. Although... is this a one-time thing? I think so. Let's use... Yeah, let's check further on along the path, and then let's use some abilities. Can I fit through the rubble? Move boulder. Yeah, we are strong enough to move the boulder. And kill one of them. Alright, we can pause the game to fight. Let's use some of the skills. Empowered Chaos. Yeah. That worked out nicely. I need to create new spells to use. But for now, let's use what we have.
Right.
Thrust. Okay, that's right. A thrust with the staff. Probably not the best choice ever.
got it.
Okay. I suppose we could try out those abilities like Shadow's Embrace or Concealing Shadows. It decreases accuracy, but does it affect our spells? Maybe not. And if it doesn't, it would be a perfect defensive thing. Stone Soldier. Don't bother with me. Go down to the pass. Justice. The soldier clutches his gut and winces. You can see a hint of entrails between his fingers. You're wounded, and it is not trivial. He laughs through clenched teeth. This but a scratch. I've seen twice as worse, 10 times over. He doubles over in pain, gagging and shivering. If you'll let me help. You know what? We're not a babysitter. Keep hold of your guts then. Farewell. Hail, Kairos. Oh, stuff. Okay, I am going to pause here. I'm going to pause here and end the first episode, because the Conquest did take quite a long time. And I'm going to create some spells in the meantime, and get ready to do the whole playthrough. I hope you're enjoying this new type of content. Well, not new type of content, but I haven't done any RPGs in a long time. Let me know what you think, and we'll get to explore the new DLC content very soon. But first, I'd like to get through the prologue and the first act, just so it's not out of context. Anyway, I have also modified the voice recording settings a bit, so let me know if I sound better or worse than I usually do. Thank you for watching, and join me for the next episode soon. Goodbye. Hail Kairos.